Recording is begun. Shit. There's that. Okay, great. Here we go. This show begins in 3, 2, 1.
I'm down here in the his house, you know, the Heezy, with the GC posse to get the 411 on Game Crazy.
I just heard about they're gonna jack a load of these Pokemon cards.
The Morning Stream. We're not toys, we're action figures.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to TMS. It's the Morning Stream for August 31st, 2023. Last day of the month. I'm Scott, and that's Brian. Hi.
Hello, Scott.
Yeah, how does it feel to be at the end of another speedy month?
The end of the month as we know it, and I feel fine.
Do you feel fine? Good.
I feel fine. Red Fraggle just reminded me that she's prepping for Dragon Con, which begins today.
Oh, right.
I'm going to ask you, obviously, you know, Atlanta on Labor Day weekend, and it's scorching temperatures, but if they ever said, hey, we'd love for you guys to come down and do a live TMS here at Dragon Con, and we'll take care of your hotel, would you do it?
Yes.
Would you?
Yes.
Wow, no heartbeat, no, not even a hesitation.
Oh yeah, no, I don't mind if they said, yeah, I mean, if they were like, hey, we'll you know, here's your flight, here's your hotel, you know, they basically do like BlizzCon press level attention or whatever, you know, they just they get us in. Yeah, hell yeah, I'd go to that. I'd do a live thing.
I happen to know a guy. I might make this happen for 2024.
Do you know if Dunaway still does stuff for them, or is he not?
He's not. But I do know the guy who does. He's a guy that I did a Pokemon Go show with for quite some time. A guy named Charles McFall.
Right, Charles McFall.
And he basically was like, "Hey, would you come down and do a live Coverville? Could we get you to?" And because he's now heading up the podcasting thing there. Swoopy gave it to Dunaway and Nicole, and then they gave it to McFall.
I didn't know. Oh yeah, Swoopy used to be. That's right. Man, this goes way back. Some of these.
The Skepticality podcast.
Yeah,
I know.
Remember them?
She was fantastic. She is fantastic.
Yeah, she's great. Her partner on that. Remember, he had that stroke, but then is totally fine now.
And I'm trying to remember. I feel horrible because I can't remember his name. Craig. It was something. Oh shit! I should know this.
I should know this too. And it was a real bummer because I remember the year.
The
year it happened was the year that they got shown up on stage where Steve Jobs is talking about the new podcast director.
Yes.
So it may have been like 06 or 07. And he that night he had that stroke. That's awful, man. I feel so bad for him.
She was the very first podcaster I met outside of the two local Denver podcasters. So that very first podcast expo in Ontario, California in 2005. I think 2005.
May have been 5, yeah.
Tina and I fly out there. We get off the plane at the lovely Ontario airport, the Inland Valley of California, and we're on the bus from the I guess it just went right to the hotel. There was like a shuttle that went right from the airport to the hotel. There was no reason for us to get a car out there.
Yeah.
And we see this person. She's got like stickers on her suitcase that somehow, I think it was like a microphone sticker or something.
That makes sense.
Might have even been like a daily source code sticker. And I said, "Oh, are you a podcaster?" And she's like, "I am. I do this show called Skepticality. Are you a podcaster?" I said, "Yeah, I do a show called Coverville." We both kind of geeked out over each other for the rest of the ride.
She was always very nice to talk to, very kind person. I liked her a lot. Derek Colanduno.
Derek, Colanduno.
Yeah,
right.
That was the guy. They haven't done an episode. See, they started in 05, so they're old timers.
Yeah.
And they haven't done an episode since 2019. I don't know if it ended or if there's some sort of, it could be like a, you know, maybe it's just on hold. I don't know what the deal is, but yeah, these are one of the, like the OGs.
They're OGs, yeah.
And I remember when they got that thing on stage, it was like a huge boon to their stuff. So they ended up getting like, you know, all these new interviews. They ended up doing Neil deGrasse Tyson. They had like Mythbusters dudes were on there. Bill Nye was on there.
Oh,
yeah,
that's cool.
It was awesome. Anyway, the heyday of Early podcasting, everyone. We remember it. Do you?
Do you remember podcasts? They're back.
They're back, man. Did you hear?
Form.
I don't know if you heard this, but because all those late night talk show guys are going to do a podcast until the strike's over.
I've subscribed to it. I haven't listened to the first episode yet, but as soon as I saw this, I'm like, oh my God, I've got to listen to this.
Yeah, I kind of want to check it out. I'm annoyed though, because there's a
Strike Force 5.
There's a little talk around, they're going to revive the medium. It's like, come on, you guys. Quit saying
thank
stuff.
goodness. Thank goodness we'll have the medium saved. Once again, first Ricky Gervais saved the medium, and then Joe Rogan saved the medium, and then...
Yep. Every once in a while, someone comes in and just saves it, They just keep saving it. And so thank goodness for the 4 late night competing talk shows for saving it once again.
Hey, whatever. Rising tide lifts all boats.
I agree. I think it's fine. It's totally fine.
And we are in our own little big unit here, and so we might not realize that, maybe podcasts outside of the ones that we produce that are all kicking butt, maybe stuff outside of our little microcosm isn't doing as well, and
could be. We don't know.
Who knows?
We're blind to the problems of all the other people in this business. We don't know. We don't pay attention. We're too busy making great content ourselves. All right.
That's right. Stoic Squirrel, as I said, in our own big unit. Do you not get the reference? Come on.
You didn't understand the big unit? Here, I'll play it and remind him. Hold on. This is always a fun thing to be reminded of. Let's see here. This is the one. Nope, that's not it. Let's try this one. Okay. Boy, the best part is, here it is. I found it.
Scott Johnson's got quite the unit.
Remember that? Do you guys remember that? That's what we're saying.
They were looking at the podcasting map of 2020 or something, and
something like
earlier
that.
than that, 2015.
Yeah.
And showing like all the shows and the little connections that people have to other podcasters. And
yeah, they were like little media bubbles, and the bigger your picture, and then also how much stuff orbited you represented your, I don't know, your impact
your influence.
or your influence or whatever. And turns out we had a pretty big bubble.
We
on
did.
there.
We did. Yeah.
Bigger than I thought. That surprised me.
Apparently mine didn't have my last name on it, but my bubble. But
well, it did. It just was spelled 4 different ways. And,
Brian Aberson, man.
That's the best thing ever.
Jen.
I think that's an amazing thing. Just, you'll go to your grave with this amazing Leo thing. It's just great.
I will. Yes, I am. You know what? If I can get 2 or 3 more mispronunciations of my name before I die from Leo, then I'll feel like I've made it in this world.
That's right. And never forget, your unit can influence people. You have a unit, use it for good, not evil.
Yeah, it will make my entry in the New York Times crossword puzzle very difficult, because people will try to fit Ibbotson into a 6-letter.
Oh my gosh!
Into a 6-letter space, but whatever.
Will Schwartz people will be in touch with you soon.
Please call me Will.
Watch for that.
Call me Will.
Give me a call, buddy. All right, check this out. I got a question. This is a ethical question.
Ooh, I love it. All right.
I don't know if we're going to be able to answer it on the air. If not, we'll have somebody tell us. In fact, I'm going to leave the text line open, so this isn't for voice calls, but if you guys want to text what you think the answer to this is while we're on the air, I'll read your text in real time. But here's the deal. So I'm a little concerned that Rainer, we had the surgery to remove her tumor. My dog, Rainer, Jim Rainer, the female dog, she had her tumor in her leg. Turns out it was cancerous. They took it out and said, oh, she's clear now. Well, since then, she's been kind of a mess, because something about the surgery, the anesthesia, just the experience of it, the shock of it, maybe, I don't know, has given her like a weird skin thing that is just like nasty and awful. Like
a rash kind of thing? Or
more like,
or something?
It's like, in Game of Thrones when they got the weird gray disease, the scale.
Oh, the scale. Is it called grayscale?
Grayscale?
Or am I just thinking that that's, my choice in Photoshop under mode?
I think it is the grayscale, right? It's like dragon scale, but they called it gray. I think they call it the grayscale.
I think they called it grayscale, but
that's funny.
I'm second guessing myself.
The RGB or RBG.
That's
RGB.
Right.
Red, green, blue. Anyway, so she's got this horrible thing on her. That's fine. We can deal with that. We put creams and wash her hair and do all this.
Sure.
She's getting older. Her breed usually her breed's somewhere between 10 and 12 years is their life expectancy. She's eking up on 10. So she's getting older. She kind of limps around. she's getting gray. You know, she just is a dog that's older.
Yeah.
She's
Dogs
in
get old. Yeah.
in dog years. She's pushing 70 or something. I don't know what it is. And you know, love her to death. My favorite animal in the world. Just love her. I think she has a new tumor growing.
Oh no!
Because the other day I noticed, you know, you're checking your dog for stuff, and I'm checking her ribs, and I can tell there's some off symmetry, and I can feel a little lump on the one side. Now, you know, maybe benign, it may be nothing, but
could even be a fatty pocket. Daisy
totally
used
could
to
do
get
that.
fatty pockets all the time.
Yeah, he was my favorite actor in the 20s, the silent
Fatty
picture.
pockets.
Oh,
yeah.
fatty pockets, man.
Until the scandal.
Yeah, until he got talk about cancel
boy.
culture.
We
Jeez.
don't bring up the fatty pocket scandal.
No, that guy went places. But anyway, so we're a little bit worried about that. And she's the other thing the doctor said was a sign is that if your dog is constantly thirsty, that's a sign that maybe it's coming back. You know, she goes out and barfs a lot. She just kind of, you know, not doing. She's okay. She's okay.
She doesn't seem like she's her full self.
No,
like
she's not in constant pain or anything, but she's definitely, you know, she's not what she used to be. Anyway, all this being said, if it comes down to it, and I'm not at all prepared for this because I'm so attached to this dog, but when it comes down, you've done this recently, so this is why I'm asking you. When you are faced with that situation where you know that it's time, vet agrees, all that stuff. Here's my question. I know some people who have done the euthanasia of a dog, of a pet, in their own home.
Yeah.
Not with like a gun to the head or anything like that, but like...
Oh, geez, Louise.
I know. This isn't the Old West, you know. We're not doing...
What? Why would you even say that?
Well, because I looked it up, and it's legal to do that if you want. If you want to...
It is. Oh, really? What, you mean it's legal to do the gun to the head?
Oh, yeah. You can shoot... You can...
Oh, God.
There is a humane method of... It's basically
all right,
old...
Anton, you gonna flip a coin before you do it? Jeez.
It's like old West style. My horse broke its leg.
Yeah.
Put it out of its
factory
misery.
for you.
Yeah.
I think it's probably more for the probably more for horses than for cats. And
That's what I thought. Well, it claims it's legal, but anyway, I'm not even anywhere near wanting to ever do that. But
No, of course.
here's my question. I know a couple of people who talked to me about what they did, and they kind of had a more ceremonial goodbye to their animal.
Yes, yeah.
And then
the dog was in a very in a comfortable place, like a place they're familiar with.
Right, and they got to have even like a last meal, their favorite food, like steak and stuff. And they had the way they did it was I think a load of ibuprofen or something, or no, crap.
Wait, did they have a professional come in and do it?
No, and that's the question. So when they did this and told me this, I'm like, that sounds odd. And I went and looked online. It says, yeah, there are ways to do it at home, and here are the legalities. And the legalities are it can't be cruel or unusual. It can't be this or that. But basically, they did. Here's what they claim. They did it with these pills that put the dog to sleep, and then they just don't wake up. And it's no different than if they went to the place and got the shots. And I said, well, it is a little different. You're administrating it. Like, it feels like taking it away from a professional is a weird thing. And they said, well, not really. This is sort of, they do exactly what you do. The only difference is, I guess the difference is you shell out money. But the other difference is, I guess it's out of sight, out of mind. You don't have to be the one to, quote unquote, pull the trigger or to inject the shot. And so they're like, oh, we just loved it. It was a humane thing, and we really, I'm so glad we did it this way, and she was with us in the end, and blah 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 blah, all this stuff. And I am having the most conflicting voices about this. Something about it seems so crazy to me that you would be the ones doing it. I don't know why though.
Yeah, I wouldn't even I wouldn't even try and MacGyver my own serum for this. Do it at home. Have the vet come to your home. Like, they have mobile vets that'll come do this in your place, but they have the stuff that is guaranteed to work. Because getting a recipe off the internet for like how to make your own euthanization serum. Yeah, it feels like if anything goes wrong, it's like, oh my God, you don't want Rainer to suffer.
No, can you imagine? Like, if I did the wrong amount of something, like if it's just pills, like supposedly it's just like a load of ibuprofen because they can't have too much of it, but that doesn't hurt them, so they sleep. That's what they said. If I did that, I'd go, Well, what if I overdid? What if I underdid it? What if she wakes
exactly.
up just...
And you're having to base it on the weight of the dog and all that sort of thing. No, totally vet it. But if you can do it at home, can get the mobile vet to come do it in your home where Jim Raynor would be the most comfortable. By all means, do that for sure.
What you guys
we did take
do? Yeah.
we did take Daisy to the vet and we had it done there. But
and do they do the whole thing where they do the cremation and everything, or did you guys bury, or what you guys?
Yes,
do
nope.
there?
They did cremation. We got a little paw print, like a paw print in plaster, and then Mrs. Crazy Neighbor made a really sweet found a photo that we had taken of her, just one of her best photos, and made a little framed photo that we have on our mantle of her. And so definitely go vet.
Yeah, that's
whether you take her there.
leaning.
But I mean, let's make sure that this isn't just a fatty pocket and a little kennel cough or something.
We're not.
Make sure. I mean, obviously, I know you're not booking the.
No. It just got me. It just all it did is got me thinking. I'm trying to be prepared, trying to be mentally, emotionally prepared. Like her and I have been inseparable since we got her. And
oh yeah, she is your dog.
Yeah, I mean, even just last night, I'm sitting on the couch playing my Steam Deck, and she just curls up in a ball on my lap and licks her feet while I play. And it's that is not going to be a happy day for anybody anywhere, especially me. So I'm just trying to be prepared for what's best to do. And when they said that, I went, oh, well, that does sound kind of nice. But I don't want to I can't be the one.
No, you want to be the one, again, we got to stop getting off the subject here, but you want to be the one holding her when the mobile vet comes and administers the serum.
Yeah, that's what I want to definitely be there for that.
That's what you want. So, get a mobile vet.
Do you think they ever slip and that needle slips and hits the person in the thigh and then they don't die, they just get really sick, and they kind of conk out or whatever?
Yeah, I'm sure that happens frequently. Happens to doctors too, where they aim for the patient and they hit themselves. Oh, darn it, I just removed my own spleen.
Oh, I gave myself a double bypass. I didn't mean to do that.
I'm going to have to file a malpractice suit against myself.
Darn it. But, I'm curious if anyone out there listening has, experience with this. Did you do any of this? Like, did you try this?
The next door neighbors have always had their cats euthanized in their own home, and we've gone over there for that, and it's a very, very what's the word? I mean, it feels like the right way to do it. The cat is in their own environment, they're familiar, with the surroundings. All they know is, oh, we've got a new friend coming over, I'm kind of tired, I'm going to go to sleep, and that's it kind of thing. And that's
what you want that.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of texts here. This one says, from my experience as an anonymous person, don't have their name.
My experience as an anonymous person.
Yeah. They actually sent me two previous texts. One was fart gas, one was explosive tip. So.
Oh, perfect. Okay, good.
Take that. That was last year. But anyway, from my experience, most of the dogs I've heard that had a tumor usually end up with another tumor. For an in-home euthanization, vet comes to your house with 2 doses of drugs. The first one calms the animal and paralyzes them. The second one stops the heart. Have a vet do it. So we have agreement there. We have another one here that says we had to put, this one just says, don't kill your dog. And then it says, oatmeal bath, hypoallergenic diet. I would have to ask my mom, but we get tablets to treat Molly's cancer. She loved it. She lived to 16. She put loved. We had to put her down when she didn't have the strength to walk, but I was on the floor of the vet with her, and it was the most peaceful thing ever. Do the vet thing or have it come to your house. Okay, so, people are in agreement here, and I agree with them. I'm not, like I said, the whole idea just makes me go, how can you do that? Of course. But I was trying to make sure I wasn't crazy. Like, I thought, is this more acceptable than I had been led to believe? Is it just my own little fears or whatever? Maybe it's a modern
acceptable. If I don't even know, what would make it. I mean, it's acceptable in the way that, if you are trained and maybe you get the method from a professional and not from Reddit, then I'd say, then you're, because I'm sure there are people who do this, out in the out in the boonies who maybe can't get a mobile vet to come and euthanize a pet. I'm not talking about a cow or a horse or a pig or something.
right.
But like, oh well, we know that rovers, and then they get the maybe even the vet sends them bottles of stuff and they do it themselves. But I wouldn't do it. There's no advantage. No emotional reason, and there's no benefit to the animal to do it yourself. Have a vet come and do it. And
what do they charge for that? Does anyone know what that costs? I wonder what that is.
I don't know.
Not that it matters that much, but if they came to me and said, "Well, that's $10,000. I'm not doing that. I'm probably going to take her in somewhere."
Yeah, definitely wouldn't be $10,000. I'm guessing it'd be probably a couple $100.
$200, okay.
Sean says $360. I wonder if
that is so specific.
Just Rain Man that, or did you look it up, or what?
Did you Rain Man it? Yeah. Somebody also sent a text that says, "I'm feeling moist today." That's nothing to do with this. I just don't know why that person sent that. So thanks a lot. Appreciate the info.
There's going to be a photo coming, Scott.
I hope not. I'm closing that right now.
Yeah. All right. Let's something happier. Got anything?
Let's move on from dogs to the defibrillators on planes. Apparently, we are wrong on this point, and Jeff Sire is calling us out. He actually sent this yesterday, but I thought it'd be good to read on the show. He says, Scott and Brian, Jeff Sire is, I already said that. Let's see. I wouldn't be so sure a plane would have a defibrillator. There very well may be, but there are a couple of good reasons they might not be. Defibrillators have to remain plugged in, or at least avoid being unplugged for long periods of time in order to maintain their charge. Aircraft spend lots of time powered down between flights. I didn't actually know that, but I guess that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And anything capable of generating enough current to restart a heart would be capable of disrupting the aircraft's electrical system. That would endanger way more lives than just one, says Jeff. I had not thought of that at all. It's a really good point.
I didn't either. I did a little bit more looking around, and the AED, AED.com, so God, what does that stand for? It's the
Attention Deficit Disorder.com. No.
Yeah, that's it. Hold on a second. It is. Where is it? AEDs. I just want to see what it stands for. But anyway, the portable, the things we see in automated external defibrillator. Thank you.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
All commercial airlines in the U.S. are required to carry AEDs on board and train their staff to use them based on legislation passed in 2004. So not a full defibrillator, but an automated external defibrillator.
Okay, and those are, Merrick in the chat says those are self-contained. They don't rely on the plane to do anything for their charge.
Right.
But my question is more about if one discharged either by accident or even if you're using it on a person, and that thing has enough of, let's say somebody's not grounded properly, or it's a weird thing to say in a plane, but anyway, if you're not grounded properly and you're touching like something you're not supposed to when you do it, I don't know the circumstances, but is that enough to like throw instruments off or to mess with systems? Or
interesting question. Yeah, that I don't know.
To Jeff's point, anyway. But my guess is, well, based on what you said, it sounds like it is required, but they're a special kind. They're not like plugged in.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So they may not be like the Mexican restaurant one I saw, but they're close.
They may not be, or they might. Yeah, who knows? The one in the that I put in our Discord. It's funny. It looks like those laptops that they were trying to give out to every child would get one of those laptops a few years ago.
Yeah, I remember those. That was a big thing for a bit.
That was a big thing.
These days now, I guess it depends on which school you go to. I've noticed this. This is probably not surprising to anybody, but some kids' schools, you can tell which schools have the bigger budgets, or which ones parents kick in more donations or whatever. Because the one rich school, they're all getting, iPad Pros at their desks, at the or MacBooks, I think. At the other school down the road that is not so highfalutin, they're getting Chromebooks. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with I have a Chromebook and quite like it.
I have a Chromebook here. I have one right here.
I like them. They're fine. They're great for what they are. Yeah. Actually, I actually really do like my Chromebook. My wife won't use anything but a Chromebook. She loves hers. So I'm just not shade on a Chromebook. I think they're great, but they're meant to be inexpensive. They're They're actually a great way to get a student a computer that also limits all the things they can do. You know, if you're worried about a kid doing some gnarly stuff on a computer, you're going to limit them a little bit by giving them a Chromebook, because that's really just a web portal. It's basically
It really is, yeah. So, I mean, you can, give them the stuff they need to be able to do some research and get online and do stuff. So, I mean, it kind of is may be an ideal alternative, or maybe the preferred thing over iPad Pros, right? Because, they can keep their notes in Google Sheets and Google what's the Docs? Just Google Docs
and Sheets, and everything used to be called Docs. Then they changed it to Drive, and then those things all got names.
Yeah, what's the word processor thing? Isn't
Sheets, Docs. I think it is Docs now.
It is Docs still. Yeah.
Sheets, Docs, Forms, and
Docs me, bro.
Presentations or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And someone in the chat said, "Oh yeah, the Wraith says Apple equals overpriced." We're not here for a brand war. We're not here for your weird brand wars. Take those somewhere else.
Somebody got the bat signal. Say, what? Somebody's having an Apple versus PC argument? I'll step in.
I'll
save you.
I'll come in and do some sort of one-sided argument about a thing. Wraith,
by the way, you like my shirt? I just realized.
Oh yeah, look at you, Duran. Bill Duran.
Yeah, Bill Duran. You can't see the lower Duran. There you go.
There's two Durans. Okay, good.
There's two Durans, yes.
Double D. That's a
D.
Diners, drive-ins, but no dives.
No dives.
Nope.
Yeah.
Saw a bit of that.
Double Ds.
Saw some of that at the hotel the other day. There's something. They've upped their game on that show. So they used to, the way it works on Food Network and Hotel, if you're watching Guy Fieri do his thing.
Which is easy to do because he is on every hotel television and it's 24 hours.
It's all the time. It's always on. I don't get it. They're like, they became the Guy Fieri channel. It's so weird. But anyway, he'll do his thing. And the old ones, it's fine. A lot of quick cuts and, this is gangster and I'll move on to the next restaurant, whatever. It's fine. But then the next, or the latest ones, the newer ones, you can always tell because he's thinning really bad. So his white spiky hair.
Oh, really?
You can kind of see the head underneath it now. The camera works so much better. It's like food porn level, like fancy camera zoom in, slow-mo, dumping stuff and all that. They really went hard on that. Anyway, I guess what I'm saying is I find that more and more entertaining than I should. And when it's on, it's like comfort food, no pun intended. And sorry to anyone who doesn't like Guy Fieri, but I like those shows.
It really is, yeah.
And the Wraith, we're just teasing around with you, bud. We're not really. Crap. We understand. It's easy to do. Look, console wars, whatever. Coke, Pepsi, it's all. Everybody's got a fight to have. Go ahead and have it. It's fine. Brian, we got a call to play real quick.
Ooh, let's hear it.
This is about recycling symbols. And we have somebody who might be in the know. Let's see what they say.
Good, yeah.
Here you go.
Hey, this is Jevin for TMS, episode 2511. I'm just on my morning walk right now. You guys are talking about recyclables. Let me just chime in and explain. Those symbols were made by plastic companies to hoodwink all of you guys. Around the same time that they got an Italian American to play a Native American and shed a single tear about all the littering. The symbols are supposed to shift the blame onto the consumer rather than keeping the blame on the plastic companies who know their stuff is completely unrecyclable. Metal is very recyclable. About 90% of the aluminum ever in circulation is still in circulation. Paper and cardboard are recyclable. Plastic is not recyclable, and those symbols have never meant they were recyclable. They're a classification system, and they actually don't indicate really anything other than propaganda. So yeah, that's all I'm calling in for. Been listening, by the way, since I was like 8, and I'm 26 now, so it's been a long time. Y'all have a good one.
Yeah, 20 years, man. That guy's been listening. Wow.
He's been listening for longer than we've been doing a show.
Oh, man. I mean, I assume he started with ELR. It's about back as far as he would go. Maybe the old, what did I used to do? I did a thing before all this. But anyway, the point is, he's probably right.
Yeah, no, this is, if you've ever seen the Penn and Teller bullshit episode where they talk about recycling, or more recently the John Oliver episode of This Week Tonight, that oh God, I want that show back so bad. I'm missing my John Oliver. I swear to God.
That one I didn't. That one hit hard when they had to stop production.
Yeah.
No.
They talk about how plastic is so temperamental, like the ones you can recycle and can't recycle, and the facilities that have the ability to do it. And I said this week tonight, last week tonight.
This week tonight.
That's how much I miss it. You can't even get the damn name right.
Yeah. No, isn't he part of this podcast thing? I think
he is. Yeah, he's one of the 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
He deserves to be in there. I worry a little. We'll have to listen to it, obviously. I worry a little bit that is such an ego problem. And I don't mean I don't like these people. What I'm saying is, to be hosts of popular late night talk show hosts, you have to be a little egotistic. You're the ringleader. You're in charge. And to have all 5 of those guys trying to do a podcast remotely with each other, because they're all doing it remote. They're not doing it in a room. Yeah,
it's all via Zoom. Yeah.
I worry that is going to feel a little like, look at me, no, look at me, no, look at me. I don't know. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, because I like kind of everybody in there. I just, I don't know. I don't know what to think of that. We'll have to hear it.
I don't know. I mean, I'll be curious to see, but
might be good.
I'm hoping. I mean, I like all those people, and
they're good people.
They're good people.
They
Good
seem
people
like
on both sides. There's 5 guys. They're constantly making fun of me. But they're good guys. They're good guys.
Hey, I really like your mugshot. You're a very brooding.
I was a little angry that day. I was a little angry. They got my picture before I had my coffee. And
look at Rainbow Bright.
I gotta have my cups of coffee. Listen, I love coffee. A lot of people say you shouldn't have so much coffee. I say I'm gonna have as much coffee as I want.
Rainbow Bright with the all caps stop. That's amazing.
All right. Fine,
well done, everyone. All right. Let's dive into some news. We got a little bit of it, and it's worth talking about, so let's do it. Time for your intake of news, and it's brought to you by
Coverville. There will be a Coverville today, and boy, oh boy, it's a good one. 75 years ago, Robert Plant was born.
Oh, Rubber Plant. I love Rubber Plant.
Rubber Plant.
Yeah.
He turned 75 last week, and so by golly, we're going to do a Coverville episode focusing on the music of a little band that he was part of called Led Zeppelin. Tons of Led Zeppelin songs, your favorites, and your maybe some deeper cuts. I don't know, but everything, seriously. You name a Led Zeppelin song, probably a cover of it on today's show. Scott, name a Led Zeppelin song. Let me tell you.
I don't know the name of it.
The Immigrant Song. Definitely. It will be on here. Yep.
Yeah. How about Stairway to Heaven? You got that?
Yeah, of course. One with Halocene. You gotta love Halocene.
Do you like A Whole Lot of Love? That's a good one.
Whole Lot of Love, sure. No, not on today's show. No, but keep going.
I can't think of any more.
I'll tell you stuff like Kashmir, Rock and Roll, Black Dog, Going to California, Ramble On, Jamaica, all that stuff today, and plus some covers that Robert Plant has done himself.
Oh, I really like his solo stuff. His covers of his own of Led Zeppelin stuff's cool too, but some of his solo albums, freaking fantastic.
They're fantastic. Yeah, Band of Joy was
really good.
Was amazing.
Yeah.
So listen for that. That'll be today at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, twitch.tv/Coverville.
He has a giant head, by the way.
Robert Plant?
Yeah.
Kind of does, doesn't he? Yeah.
Amazingly huge head. He's got a big a head as that guy in the UK car show, the Cars.
Top Gear?
The Top Gear guy with a
big
huge head.
Top Gear?
Yeah, that big old head guy. I can't think of his name. Monster head. Anyway.
Wow. Okay. All right.
I don't know where they get their hats. Maybe they don't wear them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's move on to this story here. We got a story about Georgia's been in the news a lot, okay? But this has nothing to do with the Georgia news you've been hearing lately, all right? This isn't about election interference or Rudy Giuliani or anybody else. It's none of that.
No Fulton Prison Blues in this one? Okay.
No, This is a real crime, and by that I mean one that would really piss me off if I was involved. Georgia man arrested for stealing his neighbor's entire front porch.
An entire front porch. I need details, Scott. Please give me some details.
Well, you've heard of porch pirates. This is the ultimate. Georgia man is facing felony charges after he was accused of stealing a wooden porch from his neighbor. The porch owner told investigators while his property may have been, may have had an abandoned look. Not sure what that means.
Just looks like it's abandoned. Probably like, a decrepit mess kind of
not well taken care of. But he says the porch and the other items on the land were not up for grabs. Quote, it's a full 8-foot by 10-foot porch. It would be what goes onto an hour for entry and exit. What does that mean? It would be what goes on
It would be what goes on to an hour. It would be what goes on to an hour for entry and exit.
I do not. That's a typo.
Yeah.
That's a typo.
It's such a bad typo that I can't even.
Can you?
I can't even tell what it's supposed to be.
I can't tell. I'm reading it over and over.
What goes onto an hour for entry and exit? It would be.
Okay, because he says it's full. He tells us the size and then says it's what goes on to an hour. So what I'm thinking is it must be what goes on to a house for the entry and exit, if I assume house.
Oh, okay. So house. So house got corrected to hour. Okay.
Come on, the messenger.
It would be what goes on to a house for entry and exit. Thank you for explaining a porch to us.
That's horrendous. Yeah, why did they even have to tell us? He said it was very well constructed. Not your sentence, but your porch. Robin Swinger.
What exactly is a porch? How do they work?
He had multiple no trespassing signs and took the porch anyway. Oh, he also took the signs. That's funny.
Really? Oh, nice.
Yeah. Some people shrug their
but
shoulders.
The porch apparently was not attached to a home at the time of the alleged theft. So,
really?
Gotcha. So, I know I've never seen a porch that wasn't attached to the house.
I don't
Isn't
get
that
it.
required for entry and exit? Is an attached porch? But
yeah,
maybe they were building it.
Maybe, but if it was in like no one was doing it condition, like it was decrepit and old.
Maybe. I mean you build. Sometimes you don't get the bricks for the porch until bag number 3, and you assemble them separately, and then you connect them once it's done. But that's a Lego reference right there.
Man.
But yeah. Liz Gibbons says, "Bro's never seen a mobile home." Oh, really? Is that the deal? It's. I guess mobile home porches are detachable.
Are they? I've never seen that. Okay. Well, that's cool then. Maybe that makes it modular, I suppose.
God, is there a photo? I want to see a photo. Oh, there it is right there.
I love this quote. Some people may shrug their shoulders and say it ain't no big deal, but when you take somebody's property without their consent and the value of the porch is $3,000, you can't just go and take somebody else's property, says Stapler.
Yeah. That is a pretty nice little wooden porch, like a deck.
Let's see here. It is kind of
I guess the thief has big deck energy now.
Oh, yeah, I see it now. But what?
I've seen a mobile home. I've been in several. I've had a friend named John M. I won't give his full last name because I don't want to dox him, but he lived in a mobile home with his mom, a single mom, and they had a ton of ferrets for some reason, like lots of ferrets. And boy, does a mobile home get rank.
Oh,
when
dude.
you have lots of ferrets.
One ferret stinks. I can't imagine a multitude of ferrets.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Like 4 or 5. My friends are mobile homes.
Many. I've been in one. I almost bought one. I almost bought a mobile home in my 20s. Not to live in, but the one was cheap, and we were like, "Hey, what if we rented it or something?" We were thinking of it like an investment thing. We ended up not doing it, but they're fine. I've been in lots of shotgun houses in the South, like down in Mississippi. They call them shotgun.
You mean a shotgun shack?
Because the way they work is you get in the front, and if you shot a shotgun from this is how the story goes. If you shot a shotgun in the front door, it would go all the way to the back door without any resistance.
Oh, really? I've never heard that term.
Yeah, it's like a big old row. That's what they called them locally. Like, it wasn't me making that term up. They all called it that. They said, yeah, we live in the shotgun third down number 42 or whatever. They would call their own homes that. And I've been in a bunch of those. Those were cool.
Is that what when David Byrne sings that line in Once in a Lifetime when he says, "You may find yourself living in a shotgun shack"? That's what the shotgun shack is.
I think that's it. Let's see.
Right.
I'd never heard shack, but maybe other than the song, obviously. But let's see. Shotgun shack meaning. Here it is. A domicile or house with no internal barrier between the front and back doors.
There we go. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
A small house, structure, or dwelling which is defined as being so small. How small is it that if one were to point a shotgun at the door and fire, everybody within the dwelling would be hit or killed? That's a worse. Golly, Urban Dictionary.
Way worse.
Maybe less dark on the description. Jeez.
Way worse. Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's good to know, though. It reminds me of these people make container homes, you know? Like little, I think that's actually kind of
like
cool.
Those. Yeah.
The ones I've seen are like, here's what I do. I do like container park. Not that big, but I do like, I don't know, 3 containers arranged in a configuration and build that into like a living space would be really cool. I would love that.
Sure. It'd be kind of cool too if you could like say, all right, make the shipping containers like 2 parallel alongside each other and then the third one across the back. So if you want to get to rooms in this one, you have to go up some stairs across the other container and then down some other stairs to get to this.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
And then you put a little skylight in the top one.
Oh yeah, in the top one, or your bedroom or something is up there with like a skylight. Yeah, there you go.
I love that. I love it. All right, I'm in. Sign me up. We're moving.
Cool. All right.
Burger King. Burger King's in trouble. We talked about this before, but it looks like they're going to have to actually face the music.
Are they really? Oh, nice.
Yeah, Burger King must face a lawsuit now, claiming its Whoppers are too small. I think they're too big, to be honest. They're pretty big. I mean, for a burger...
right. I'm a Whopper Junior guy.
Yeah.
I'm not a Whopper, big-ass Whopper guy.
I'll do a Whopper.
Sorry, ladies. Sorry, ladies. I'm a Whopper Junior guy.
You're not a full Whopper. U.S. judge has rejected Burger King's bid to dismiss this lawsuit, claiming that cheated hungry customers by making its Whopper sandwich appear larger than it actually is. You know what? This will set a precedent because every fast food restaurant does this. None of them look like what you get, and by that I mean also they're smaller. All the Taco Bell shit is smaller than what it shows. It's just the way it is. Although yesterday, I will say this. You know, I've had trouble with this local Taco Bell. It's been trouble for a long time. But I got a really good crunch wrap there yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So hats off to them for getting it right
I went
one
a couple
time.
days ago to Taco Bell, and I got I do the what you call it, use the app and you do the build your own cravings box, because then you can like choose whatever you want. Sure. And I got the Crunch Wrap Supreme and a bean burrito, and then I give Tina the Doritos Locos taco. Oh, this Tuesday, because it was free Doritos Tacos Locos or whatever day.
Yeah.
So
they give away a free Doritos taco that day. I didn't know that.
Yeah, on Tuesday they did. I don't know if it's every Tuesday, but I happened to look in the app and it said free Doritos Locos taco today. If you'd like it, add it to your order. I'm like, added, done.
I do like those.
Yeah,
I'm a fan. Well, anyway, this is all going.
Have you bought a Whopper in the last year?
Yeah, this feels like one of those. Have you been diagnosed with mesothelioma? It's like one of those ads in the middle of the night. Have you bought a Whopper that seems smaller than it should have been?
Exactly. My Whopper seemed really actual clients. My Whopper seemed really small, and then I called the law firm of Bagelman, Franklin, and Jackson.
Bagelman. Tell me more about the Bagelmans.
I'm not doing a stereotype. There's no stereotype here.
No, not at all. I'm sure.
Bagelman, Schwartz, and
you can make
Lieberman.
There are no ethnic things you can say about Mr. Bagelman. It's fine.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. And I got $18 settlement from eating a Whopper that was way smaller than advertised.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Bagelman, for giving me a win.
Let the law firm of Bagelman, Schwartz, and Lieberman fight for you.
Lieberman. That's great. Did you see, sorry, this isn't political, but because I actually don't wish him any harm. I don't.
Oh, God.
I don't agree with his politics, but a lot of it anyway. But Mitch McConnell, did you see Mitch McConnell's freeze up yesterday? It's another one, like within a month.
No.
Yesterday's was bad. He was just taking some questions. It wasn't even like the official podium thing, but he was taking some press questions about his reelection next year. And he did one of his things where he went, usually he's like launching a,
Yeah.
but instead he just kind of looked off into the nowhere, and his staff he just froze up, didn't say anything. Staff had to come up and like kind of touch him and
Control,
move him.
delete him.
Kind of, and he wouldn't answer them, so they had to like march him out of there. He needs to, Feinstein, Steenstein, whatever last name is.
Yeah.
And that Chuck Grassley guy, they all need to. We need to have an age, if not term
Mandatory
limits, age
retirement.
minutes.
Mandatory retirement.
Yeah,
Yes.
have either if you're not going to have term limits, and I understand some of those arguments, then have frickin' age limits, or at the very least, don't parade these people out in this state. It's elder abuse, is what it is, and I really mean that. This is not cool. And I know you're doing it to keep. You got to maintain your dominance or your majorities, and I understand the desire to do that. But it's freaking inhumane, man. Like, what are you doing?
I say mandatory annual cognitive evaluations if you're in certain levels of government or higher. Just because you've got your hands in a lot of legislation and control, and some of you even have access to a big red button. Maybe you should have a little cognitive evaluation every year just to be safe. Both sides. I'm certainly not saying one side or the other.
No, I don't care.
I don't know how well I think Biden would do with one of those. So.
No, I don't know how well any of them would do. All the ones that are in these positions of being like 80-year-olds running important parts of the country. It's time to maybe reevaluate if we really want that or not. Now, that being said, there's some real tweezer nuts that want to take their place.
Oh, my God. That is just the visualization of those two words together. Oh, please.
Yeah,
okay.
It's all stupid. Anyway, that's as political as we're getting today. All right, everybody?
Yeah. And, make it also cognitive evaluations if you have to be part of a debate, a presidential debate. I'm just saying, maybe just one of those.
Yeah. Or just a basic civics test, on how things work, how the Constitution's actually written. Maybe we make these people across the board actually understand the country and the states they're representing, and not just go in there swinging words and engagement farming. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yes.
Also, could Ted Cruz just fall off a cliff? All right, moving on.
For sure.
Let's take a break. When we come back from this break, Wendy will be here. It's week 3 and the finale, really, of the inner roommate discussion.
Yay!
Okay, so we're going to find out where that goes, and we're going to do it here shortly. But Brian's got to play a song to create a demarcation in the show today where we play music. So
this is the before Indie in the Middle part, and then after the song will be the after in the Indie in the Middle part.
That's
the
right.
AIM, and right now we're in the BIM.
There. Yep. Don't forget, those acronyms are there to help you people at home.
They're there for you.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. How about a song from a band called the Oracle Sisters? They knew. They looked into their crystal balls and knew that you would be listening to the song today. So they sent it to me, and it's called Ruby on the Run. This is from their debut album called Hydronism, which is out via 2220 Records. Their North American headline tour begins in 2 weeks as well. So if you like this, you can go see them live. Here are the Oracle Sisters and Ruby on the Run.
Paul, we understand that you have found a wonderful Super 8 motel. Where are you?
I'm at the Hudson, Wisconsin Super 8 Motel. Don't take a bath, don't wash your hair, don't eat pickles while you're menstruating.
And we're returned. Tell me who that was one more time, please.
Yeah, that's those are the Oracle Sisters and the brand new song Ruby on the Run from their debut album called Hydronism. Check out the video too. It's really cool. It feels like a short form movie, and it was filmed on location in Morocco and running through the streets of Marrakesh. It's really cool. Oracle Sisters, Ruby on the Run.
Nice. It's a new programming language. It was Ruby on Rails. Now it's Ruby on the Run.
That's right. And it works with Oracle, so that's good.
Yep. And if I go to Morocco, I'd like to have a taco.
Well,
I like the rhyming.
Okay.
It's just the rhyming, you know? You like the rhyming.
That's very
sometimes.
good. Yeah, very good one.
All right. We are attempting to pull Wendy in, and she's showing offline, but that really, I've learned, means nothing. Sometimes it means that she's just on her phone and that she needs to rush over to some sort of device and get on there. Or sometimes it means she forgot about things. But let's find out together today, right now. Let's see. Did she say anything? Nope. She said we're good. Okay, cool. That was yesterday.
Okay.
Well, we'll see.
That was yesterday.
While that's happening, I will share this with you. It was in our news, but I think it's worth mentioning because you like coffee. You're a coffee guy.
I'm a coffee guy. Yeah, I'm a coffee achiever.
Yeah, and you're not alone. There's a large contingent of human beings.
It's surprising. Yeah, they put up these coffee shops, and by golly, those places get busy.
They really do.
I didn't never realize that other people like this weird little dirt water that I like to drink.
My favorite is when you go to a hotel and that hotel has 3 or more Starbucks in it. I think that's funny.
Right? Yeah.
Do you ever think one Starbucks is like, oh, we're out of creamer, go downstairs and talk to Starbucks number 2 and get some? They probably do. Right?
It's insane. Yeah, a lot of the Vegas hotels, I think the MGM Grand might have 3 Starbucks in it, at least 2.
That's a lot of Starbucks.
It is.
Oh, Wendy has joined us. Never mind. I'll tell you guys the story about coffee
Plaza
in a
has
second.
0.
The Plaza, freaking Plaza. What are they doing?
I'll explain the situation to Wendy. Don't worry.
Hey, look who it is. It's my sister Wendy, who I just saw the other day at my, my house, I guess, is where we were.
It was your house.
Yeah. You were here hanging out on your way back to, back home to Minnesota.
It was.
I had a guy go, I put up that picture of me and you on the porch, and some guy said, are you in Sweden, or did Sweden come to you? And I went, where have you been for the last?
Yeah, it's a little,
been a while.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I wish that was still the case.
Yeah, they loved you there. You know, they thought you were.
They did. They needed me to bring a little American pizzazz.
Yeah, that's right. Because all them depressed people with the no daylight and the whatnot, you know, they need a little love. Anyway, Wendy's here, and it's an exciting week for Wendy. Her second oldest off to college this week. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Dude, can I just say this? Listen, I don't know how many of you are familiar with college, but it is ridiculous what they can charge for the worst dorm room you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I believe it. Yeah.
They're all gross, right? I've never seen a dorm room I went, oh, this is nice. It's never like that. It's always bad.
Where he is, okay, here's the thing. When they take you on the tour, they show you the brand new one. And they're like, oh, you could live somewhere like this as a freshman. Yeah. And then when you get your assignment and you go to it, I mean, it was, you know, those buildings that were built in like the 30s and 40s?
Sure.
And if they're kept well, they're a museum. Yeah. This one is a dorm, and it was freaky. I was like, oh, okay. Now what was this? How much does this cost?
Like
oh my gosh.
Like pipes on the outside and weird.
Yeah, and like where the phone station used to be, you know, every place had to have it where you could go use the phone. That's still just right there. It's like they just ripped out the phones, and I'm like, okay.
Well, it'll be a little adventure for him, you know. He's gonna.
It is. He's also got a roommate, but I'm pretty sure like I couldn't be in there at the same time as them. Like it was so small.
Wow.
So
I was like, one of you is gonna have to step out for me to step into this room.
Yeah.
It's something. Also, you know, his roommate's a stranger from Milwaukee, so God bless them all.
I love that. Was a great movie. Great old
stranger from Milwaukee.
Yeah, it was a very early Scorsese film. Very good stuff. So hold on a second. What's the college again? Remind me. Where'd he go?
University of Minnesota.
That's right. U of
M.
M.
If anyone knows the Centennial of freshman housing, that you probably stayed in it 800 years ago. So there we go.
Yeah,
it's fun. He's very excited. He had zero response to. I was like, I'm claustrophobic and I'm going to die, so I'm going to get out of here. And he's like, this is fun.
No, he'd probably love the adventure.
When you're 18, everything's fun.
Sure,
you know?
And he's also 6 foot huge and
3. You know,
buff.
big.
Yeah, he's
it's
my
not
height.
Going to be comfy.
He's my height, but
he's a bunk bed, guys. This is like, how much money am I spending for him to have a bunk bed?
Yeah, right. It's a lot. It's a lot.
He studies anyway, you know.
He will.
But it's good. This is the beginning of an era.
Yeah, it's a new day. Everyone, get ready for it. Also, Abe is probably the handsomest kid on the freaking campus. So look out, ladies. He's got a girlfriend.
I mean, it is the Midwest, so that's not that hard.
And he's got like a Sopranos girlfline, like an Italian mob boss.
She's so great. She really is.
Yeah.
She's funny. I was gonna say this though, like pulling in, parents dropping kids off. There was this there's a bunch of students that are helping, like, I guess it's their job or something, and man, the sarcasm coming out of their mouths. I was like, oh, dude, you're too jaded to be here. You need to find a replacement. But it was very fun to see all the feels. It was great. It was good. Let's
new generation.
Get out of my house.
That's right. Get out of your house. Get going with your life. Also, finally, you're talking about how old these buildings are. It is weird to think that some student went in there at 18 at some point, graduated, lived to 90, died, and that's still the same building. You know what I'm saying? Like he's going to that
same toilet
school. Yeah, the same toilet.
Same toilet for 12 dudes. And I'm telling you, in 1940, no one was 6'3". Were they? I mean, they maybe were. I don't know. Just nothing fits. So.
Crazy. All right. Well,
I feel that way on planes. Like, come on, planes. I am a normal-sized human adult.
Yeah.
Why do my knees smash into it? I mean, I'm 5'10", so I'm the average size of the average American male. Guys, I know it's hard to admit this, but I am your size.
Yeah.
And my knees are jammed. And I'm like, where are we going from here?
Yeah.
It's so bad. Anyway,
yeah.
Sorry,
you know what, Brian?
ranting.
You're preaching to the choir with Brian and I. A couple of 6+ foot guys
Mm-hmm.
trying to fit in things. It's horrible.
How do you even do it? I don't understand how you do it.
You try to get that weird seat, Brian. I don't know if you do. Well, I think you do because we've talked about it.
Oh, I absolutely do. Yeah, on Southwest, if I can get the seat that has the no seat in front of it.
Yeah.
Or anything in the exit row, I go for it. But,
you have to volunteer to be like the door guy, right, or whatever. But
which is fine. I'll be the door guy.
Yeah.
I practice at home. I take doors I'd say, I'm going on a flight this week. I need to practice taking doors off the hinges, so I do it.
So here's my question: if you're in that row and they say to you, "Are you willing to do this?"
Yeah.
I mean, of course, everyone's saying they're willing to do this. I think everyone would just cut and run when it comes to it.
I have seen, you get on the roads and you realize that 90% of the people would just push you out of the way to get to that door before you.
You know what?
If you do any driving, you see these people and you're like, I don't want any of these people in charge.
I'm committed, though. I am committed. If it ever came down to it and I was in that seat and I committed to it, I am committed to doing it. I will help people off that plane.
You and me both. Listen, I want to be the one to save you. I want to save all the people in my row.
Yeah, especially at this stage. If I was like 25 and whatever, and I was pretty super self-centered, I'd probably be like, "F you, get out of my way." Maybe I would. I don't know. But now, I would. What's there to lose? Maybe we're all going to die anyway. Let me help you, and maybe you'll survive.
Yeah,
great.
You're like, I've lived a good life.
Yeah, I've done okay. My progeny lives on. Let's go. Let's do this.
Fine.
That said, I might need 30 seconds to go visit the men's room before. Well, I mean, you go ahead and get started. And I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'll be right back. I just gotta pee.
I'm not gonna go take my headphones off and throw up. I'm just gonna
go pee and I'll be back. Don't worry.
Right. I'll be right back.
Brian puked. Brian puked on the show once. You don't know about this story.
He did?
Yeah, not on the show, but he at one point on the show. In fact, I have audio from it. Let's
Please
play it.
Don't play it.
No, he doesn't barf on the sound. Here's what he says. Brian will also have a date on this. Here we go. Here's Brian. This is 2014. Brian Ibbett, right here.
Hey, I'm gonna actually have to put the headphones down for a second and go throw up.
Yep, he went and barfed, and it's famous for it. Brian's a famous.
That is an incredibly professional announcement.
I know, right? Yeah, it was very professional.
Amazing.
And he did it. And when he came back, he was like, "Okay, I'm back," and he was good to go. And I was like, "Man, I'd just be on the couch right now. What are you even doing?" Anyway, he really did have to go pee, so he's doing that now.
Okay, we'll let him do that.
Let's get into it. So we some weeks ago said we were going to have a part 3 and sort of a finale to this whole inner roommate thing.
Yeah.
And today's our day, so let's do it.
Well, let me give a summary. So, if you didn't hear the other two, I'll just kind of, you can go back and listen, of course. So it has been officially the last 2 episodes I was on, right? So
right, correct.
Been a break, so it's a little weird. But so the first one was all about this concept of being the noticer and hearing your inner roommate. Who is the voice that sort of has the running commentary about this or that. Often we'll call them like the inner critic or whatever. There can be lots of versions of this, but so the first week was really to identify that, to get in science mode and pay attention and hear what this voice had to say. And then we had a caller, share their experience with that inner voice. And so we worked with that a little bit. And then the second episode is when we did that. But then also we talked about this idea of sort of softening the spaces, like usually it's around your heart, maybe it's your stomach or something, of just like letting some of that tension out physically, right? So focusing on where that tension builds, and then sort of creating an ability to soften it and let go of it, right? Which usually requires breathing, which a lot of people just stop doing. They don't realize they're not doing it, but they don't breathe deeply at all.
Right.
And so you can really soften that just in the physical way of like, so we've got this inner roommate that sort of says some stuff and triggers your physiological response. And if we just stick with those two things and we live our lives, we're going to kind of be batted around a lot. And depending on the whims of that voice, how we feel about something or whatever it may be, right? So today we're going to get really specific about a specific thing that the inner roommate repeats, or in combination. It's a cyclical thing, maybe it's a constant thing, and we're calling it the thorn in your side.
Oh,
so everyone's kind of got a thing maybe that is just always going to show up, maybe in certain circumstances, and I'll walk you through. We're going to identify a fake version of this, unless you guys want to share yours, but and we'll go through kind of what it is and then what to do about it. So these steps are sort of like, first you got to hear it. First you got to not think everything that's happening in your head is you, and be more of the observer, right? Sit in the observation seat, be the noticer. Because the cool part is that the noticer is like a totally different emotional experience or thing, right? Versus whatever storm might be going on because the roommate's throwing a fit, right? So that skill, the more you can get that separation between those things, just the way better you're going to feel generally. I would maybe articulate, I have a client recently, I'm trying to think, how do I change this up so it's not identifiable, but just that the roommate freak out storm about a particular issue, so the thorn in their side, comes once or twice a year. And it is almost predictable at this point. Like, it's going to always be in summer and it's always going to be in fall right before the holidays. We kind of have enough track record to go, here it is again. And this it's like blending with the thoughts and the feelings and just getting completely sucked in. And so when someone might have a mental health crisis, this is very reductionistic. So don't quote me that this is what all mental health crises are.
Right.
But often it's a spiraling, like a rumination on steroids. Just you cannot get out of the way your brain is activated and thinking. And then, of course, your body's responding. And it's this vicious cycle of you're in a fight or flight state. And so your brain needs to understand it. So it tells more stories. The stories it's telling makes your body in a fight or flight. And you just are in spiral mode. So this is why it's so valuable, is that you're really giving yourself a lot of skills and abilities around when something starts to spiral, getting the ability to back up from it and have a little space from it and observe it.
Yeah.
And it takes about 80, 90% of the power away from it. Okay. So is that a decent explanation? Do you want to add anything to what we've already done?
I think that everything you just said there resonates with me in terms of like, there's a compounding quality to that loop that is really, you can get to a point where you feel like you can't relax anything. You're just, this is where you are and there's no stopping this, and you're in that loop and there's no way out of the loop. So, not only do I relate to it, but I'm looking forward to today's grand finale on how to deal with it. That seems good.
Grand finale. Hi, Brian. How was your urination?
Oh, it was very satisfying. I've been back for minutes.
Oh, minutes. Hours. Okay, great. Okay, great.
Minutes.
Okay, so if you guys want to volunteer what your inner thorn is, that's great. But I'm going to use a specific one. But I'm going to have everybody do this. If you've followed along and you've started practicing a little bit of, hey, noticing that voice, noticing what it kind of repeats, then the question is, what does it repeat? So I want to start with just some imagery of an actual thorn in your arm.
Okay. Thorn in the arm.
Picture a nasty thorn.
Like a big old freaking, I don't know, what, rose thorn size? Are we talking larger, more comically large, or what are we talking?
Well, you do whatever your brain does. Okay. In my mind, I don't picture it, so it's fine.
All right.
Just a thorn.
Just a thorn. A theoretical idea called a thorn. No, but imagine a thorn. Now, everyone's had a mosquito bite or some other like irritation, right? But a thorn there's like an active injury occurring, and you have a couple options, right?
Yeah.
So imagine this thorn is in your arm. It's incredibly painful, and it is going to cause serious problems.
Yeah.
And you have two choices. Now, a physical thorn, most of us would just take out, right?
Right. Just yank it.
We would be willing to suffer the initial pain of removal and treatment to not walk around with the thorn in our arms.
Right.
Okay. But when it's a psychological thorn or one of these inner roommate, relentless kinds of thorns, we have two choices. And one is to take it out. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do at the end of here. But the other one is one we often see people do and is pretty tempting. And that is to protect it. So don't let anything touch it, right?
Right.
So really picture this thorn. What would you do if you needed, if you decided to keep it in your arm, but you needed to not have it hurt? What would you have to do?
I mean, okay.
Think about sleeping.
Well, let me tell you let me tell you what I picture first, because that may help tell you how I would do it. I picture like this thorn, and this is, by the way, this is not me forcing it to look like this. This is just how it looks. I can't change how it looks. It looks like a big old eagle talon size thorn.
Oh gosh.
Just like a big old, and it's in the flesh down there tickling bone, like nasty thing. That's how I picture it anyway. I think I still would want to just go yoink as hard as I could and then wrap it and be, hope it doesn't get infected or whatever. That's how I would.
Yeah, sure. But imagine you can't do that. Imagine
you
that.
Keep it in your arm, but it can't, but make it so it doesn't hurt.
Yeah. So maybe people with less wild imaginations have a smaller thorn in mind. And how would you protect it from, because think about it, it's maybe okay if you're not bumping it, but when anything gets close to it, it's just going to activate it.
What would you do, Brian? Would you how would you protect your thorn?
I think I would try and deaden the area around it. Is that an answer?
I like it. Yeah.
I like that.
Okay.
Toughen up, pull up my cowboy up, pull up my big boy pants, and I don't know. No.
Okay, I love both those things. Those are both really good answers for psychologically what people do.
Yeah,
sure. I'd compartmentalize that thorn and compress it into a small ball and shove it deep down into my psyche where no one would ever see it again.
Yep.
There we go. That's definitely one option. I mean, and let's stick with physical for one more second. You would potentially build some kind of like apparatus around it, right?
Yeah.
You would build a cage or some kind of enclosure. Right? You'd have to maybe get a new bed so that your arm could, like a massage table, your arm could hang down or something so it wouldn't get attacked. Yeah. You would, anytime you met someone, that whole, how's it going? And someone's going to grab your arm and with one hand and shake your other hand, like you would be real leery of other people getting near you. You don't know because they wouldn't know about the thorn. You would just spend so much energy and time just protecting yourself from feeling that pain, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to not go certain places. You are going to do all sorts of building and contrapting. And I like your psychological, I mean, that's really what we're getting at, right? Is that we're doing this with these emotional wounds and these emotional thorns, and the choice still remains. So keep it protected or take it out. It is still the exact same option with a physical thorn as it is with a psychological thorn. But most of us are pretty, we know there's a weird thorn in our arm physically way quicker than we'll ever know that this psychological thorn is in there, because we get so wrapped up every time it gets activated, right?
Right.
We're in active pain. And then we got to go right back to avoiding, and like Brian said, shoving it very deep down so no one will ever find it.
It's like a birthmark or a scar, kind of, where you never want someone to see this big patchy thing on your face or whatever. So you always load up on the makeup, or say it's on your arm. You always wear a long sleeve shirt to hide it. It feels a little like that.
And you're thinking about it all the time.
You're
right?
always thinking, nobody else knows it's just under that thin layer of fabric, but it's there and you know it, and you're thinking about how to make sure it doesn't show, Like it's almost like that. It's almost like less of a. I mean, I don't know. There's a pain in that. There's a kind of pain in that too, I suppose.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so we're going to take an example of a thorn, and then I'm going to have you guys help me build a life around protecting from this thorn. Okay, so let's say the inner roommate or the inner critic or the inner voice or, whatever that part of you is that is lonely. And you're experiencing loneliness and is just reminding you you're alone, reminding you you're going to die alone. Maybe you get heartburn and you're like, okay, this is it. No one's coming because I'm going to have a heart attack and die alone. Like, you can imagine that voice activating often when you are if this thorn of being lonely is there. Okay. So let's just talk really quick about what contraptions you would build, what devices, what protections would you put in place to not let the thorn of loneliness be triggered.
Right.
How would you protect from that pain?
Oh, geez. How would I protect against that pain? There's probably a drug analogy here, right? Like, I would...
the numbing that Brian was talking about?
Yeah, I guess that's the same thing, right? Numbing it. Whatever that means. Like in the case of... I don't know. Some people drink too much to numb things. Some people, self-medicate to do that.
Think about something else, or distract yourself from,
or do something you shouldn't, or do something you do. You're not going to. There's 100% a surety that doing that thing will make you not have to deal with this at all.
Right. Right. So there's that like proactive protection. That's like building the shield and. Putting all sorts of things in place. And then there's the numbing part for sure. Yeah. Okay. How about this? How about what do you avoid when you have a thorn of loneliness?
Thorn of loneliness avoidance theory. What do you avoid?
Yeah. Does being in a crowd fix the problem or amplify the problem? Like going somewhere where there are a lot of people, does that amplify the loneliness, or
it seems like it would.
It's relative, probably, right? Someone may feel one way or the other, but so for example, would you avoid places where couples are?
Oh yeah, there you go. That's I wouldn't go to a ballroom dancing class and watch all the people dancing in pairs. Yeah.
Exactly. So you would avoid maybe something you actually would enjoy because the risk of that thorn being bumped is there, right? So just like the birthmark or the real thorn, you are spending a lot of your life energy trying to not be disturbed internally, right? And so you can imagine, and here's what's tricky about being a human is that we do this so seamlessly almost, right? We're just so used to treating ourselves a particular way or protecting that inner disturbance in particular ways. It's hard to even realize we're doing it.
Yeah.
Which is why the first episode was all about identifying the voices, right? Like just hearing, being curious about like what actually goes on in here. There is a great quote from Bessel van der Kolk is this kind of one of the experts in trauma treatment, and he said this thing I really liked. He said, neuroscience research shows that the only way we can change the way we feel is by becoming aware of our inner experience and learning to befriend what is going on inside ourselves. So our tendency is to not befriend what's going on. It is to build glass walls all around whatever's going on or shove it so deep in the dark so that no one else will know those things are happening. And we don't want to feel them. We don't want to even know they're happening. And the opposite is true, is that getting to know them is where you're going to be free of most of this, right? And so we'll get to that in one more second. I just want to know, is there any other choice you think someone who's experiencing loneliness as a chronic sort of inner turmoil and thorn, what else might they do? What else could they do?
To avoid it or to deaden the pain or
to keep it from
or solve it or feel better, right? Because isn't that what we're all just asking anyway? It's like, how am I going to feel better? But
I mean, personally, I would go to a place where there's a lot of people in the hopes that maybe I'd see someone I know, or I'd see someone else in a similar situation, and maybe I could, go up and talk to them. And it sounds so like Mr. Rogers. Maybe I could make a new friend. Right. Yeah,
Sure,
but
why not?
that sort of thing. Go someplace where you might find some like-minded people.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
I might go to a bar, and not to drink my problems away, but to sit at the bar and talk to the bartender, because they're, they have to talk to you. Like
they are your friend.
When
Yeah.
I would
100%.
travel on the road, I was going solo. If I went to a restaurant, I'd make sure it had a bar, and I'd sit and eat at the bar so I could chat with the bartender. And then through that, you start talking to the people around you and that sort of thing.
So you were, instead of this being like a thorn that needed to be protected or avoided, you were like, oh, I have a need. I'm going to meet that need.
Yes.
And I'm going to assume, Brian's, because this is not an inner emotional wound for you, right? This isn't.
No. Yeah.
You weren't.
I don't know if I could even
It's
say
a very
I've ever
small thorn. If there's a thorn at all,
if there is, and you
like
solve
one of
it
those
by
little,
meeting people.
prickly bush thorns that you can barely feel. You only feel it when your hand brushes against it, and it's really hard to find.
Yeah.
Yes.
I actually don't
And
know
that
to me, it's like boredom. I don't know if I've ever felt actually lonely. That's a weird thing to say because it sounds like it's a privileged position, and maybe it is, but I've never felt a sense of loneliness. Like, even when I'm alone, I never go, oh. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe I will if there was, like, tragic loss. Let's say Kim passed away. I would be a mess, and I would know true loneliness suddenly. But up till this point in my entire life, I've never felt like alone. In fact, I like alone time quite a bit. So I don't, it's a hard that's why I'm having a hard time grasping onto what I would do, because it isn't a thorn for me. If anything, it's like I don't know, it's an unknown. I just don't know. I don't know how it feels.
Yeah. And so let me tell you that you two are weirdos.
All right, then. We did it. We nailed it.
Because 52% of Americans report feeling lonely.
Really?
And then another 47% report relationships with others that are not meaningful. Only 59% of Americans have a best friend. And they have some stats, long sort of following relationship stats. And the one about men is like, in 1990, men said they had 4 to 5 friends. And now they say they have 0 to 1.
Yeah. I read
friends.
I think I read this somewhere. Yeah.
It's not great. It's not great. You two are on the other percentage, so good for you. But so that's what's interesting is you both, because it's not a thorn, you aren't needing to protect the pain part. You just were like, oh, I'll go talk to someone, right?
Yeah.
Like solved it, right? And that can happen when we go to a friend or a loved one and we sort of share what's going on with us. We're like, why don't you just get outside and get some sunshine? Because that would work for me or work for you. So Brian's like, go to a bar, talk to the bartender. And you're like, yeah, I am doing everything to not activate my pain. So that I cannot do, right? So this is where, your own experience and understanding your own inner world really matter.
Yeah.
So I got lucky and didn't pick both of your pain points, right? But for many listening, I guarantee this is a major emotional inner turmoil.
Oh, I'm sure it's a
right?
problem. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah.
We should ask the same question when Tina goes out of town later this month. She's going to be out of town for a couple days. And it's like, maybe I do.
Kim's going to Mississippi in a week or something, 2 weeks, whatever it is, and she'll be there a whole 10 days or something. And I'm going to be a mess by the end of that. And I don't mean just like mental.
Do you have meals planned and stuff? Are people coming?
Well, Carter's here. So Carter and I'll work together. We'll work together. But in October, when she's in Nashville, that's 6 days of just me and the dogs. I don't know what we're going to do. Yeah, it's going to be bad.
Well, you got to make sure you feed them and stuff.
But I will. I mean, there is this is interesting because I fully am aware that there are people who experience like maybe even chronic loneliness or really painful loneliness, and I my heart goes out to those people. I think we're bad examples because we put ourselves out there so much and have so many relationships connected to being public. Yeah, that there are almost days we were just like, dude, I just want to be in a corner. I want to be with a book and I want to be alone. Everyone leave me alone. So we're bad examples for this. You know?
Yes, and it's a varying stage. It will vary in life, right? Like and this is where the long-term effect of having a wound that is activated so easily, right? Is that you will just, it's that whole story of like, you're in Denver, they move the train 5 inches to the right, and then you end up in Florida instead of New York, right? Like it has massive impact over time, putting you in a particular direction, right? And so it just gets worse and worse. So think about building your entire life around not disturbing this thorn. And you're going to get a life that is doing so much effort that could go somewhere else, right? It could be something totally different, but we're trying to protect this wound. Yeah. So all of us have a version of this. Nobody gets by without one. Loneliness is just, I think, so ubiquitous that I picked that one. So here's what we do about it. And really the motivation here is we want to get a life back, right? Because it really does become such a focus of everything. So this is going to sound too simple, and so please forgive me. And that is, it's almost like the physical thorn. You stop messing around with it. You stop protecting it. And this is why having someone's help to do this can be really beneficial, right? Because it's really hard. Like I picture like an old medical procedure from the 1800s where you're like, someone is with you telling you to bite on a leather belt.
Sure.
Well, you kind of need someone.
Leeches on your arm or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
You're not doing that stuff alone. You are doing that with support. And so someone helping you as you are going to remove this thorn. But what all of the protection stuff is playing with it and making it worse. So the idea is that once you can identify, here's this thing that just is reoccurring in my life. Every time anyone gets near the core of this, I have really strong reactions. Often people will recognize it because they are reacting so big. And then afterwards they feel total shame. Like, why did I act like that? And if you're not able to tune into what it's really about, now we've got your bad behavior to deal with. And then what do I do with that shame? And it just compounds. So we really want to go to the core. Where is this thorn and what is it? And how do we help you remove it? Right?
Because you run a risk, right? Like even if you have somebody helping you remove your thorn, to keep the physical metaphor going, if their idea is to help you remove the thorn, great, that's one thing. But if then they say, what also is great, here's an open Carolina Reaper pepper. I want to grind that into the wound that was your thorn. Like you can go too far, right?
Well, let me put it this way. I mean, there are definitely people you don't want helping if they're going to do that. But here's a way to kind of understand what pain it's going to be. Yeah. So let's say you've spent all this time avoiding removing a physical thorn, and it's now infected. Like the pain's increased, right? And which is why our body does that. It's like, you dummy, get this out of here. It's like a sliver that means nothing, but I'm going to make you miserable till it's gone. And that misery is to try to get you to do something about it, typically, right? So, but here's the thing, whatever original pain you were avoiding, it still needs to be felt. The removal still, that whatever that may be. So let's say let's say your parents get divorced. It is really bad. And you are torn in between, and there's definitely wounded, am I loved and worthy kinds of questions that you have when like really core stuff happens to you as a kid, right? And then you're on living your life, and each new relationship has like some expiration dates or sabotaging that occur. Like you can look on the outside and go, oh, these things might be related to my childhood wound, but you don't know what to do. You're still protecting it. So I'm going to marry someone who's the opposite of my mom, and I'm going to, or whatever you're doing to shield the original pain. When you actually go to remove that thorn, it's going to be the original pain as you have avoided, and that avoiding, and it feels a little temporarily better, right? Like, or time can go on and I could just think it's not a big deal. But when you go back, that original pain can be felt. And here's the thing, and this is what most people are so afraid of, is it is always less bad than you thought it would be. Just like the real thorn, right? It's like, you just like, ready, rip it off. If you don't, because what we do in our head makes it so much worse. So that's the whole reason we're building an entire life around avoiding feeling that pain.
Right.
So if you're always trying to avoid the pain, then there is one very amazing thing that happens if you just let it be is it sometimes will naturally work itself out. Right. Yeah. And that naturally working itself out, like an actual like sliver coming out itself, maybe is a good way to think about it, is prevented because you're now building a cage around your finger so no one bumps into it.
Right.
And there's no time or space. And so that could be an emotional release. That could be like, I really cried it out. I threw some stuff. I worked out some of those feelings. If we do the Brian method, which is shove it down in a deep, dark space. That's what it's called.
Maybe I don't actively practice or recommend that method, but
we're just giving you credit for identifying.
Heard of it. Yeah, okay, that's good.
Yeah, okay. You've heard of
just
other people
wad it up into a ball and shove it down deep.
Yeah, keep it in there.
That one.
Keep it away.
Yeah, the natural working out maybe won't come. So, in thinking of that, what are your thoughts? Like when you just let something work itself out naturally.
I mean, I think that some of that can come from Brian's example of going to that bar and mingling in the loneliness example. But for anything else, it's almost like let's say your thorn is more representative of I don't know. Let's say fear of heights. I have that, so that's a personal one for me. So the way I could work that thorn out would be to, I don't know how to say this, but I guess just go somewhere high and force myself to experience it. And
exposure therapy.
Therapy, yeah.
Immersion,
right.
Yes, and you see, with the heights, how many years have you been afraid of heights, Scott?
Since I was a kid, since I was little, as long as I know.
So you got way more. I mean, okay, here's a good example. We were all at dinner at your house, and a bee shows up, and I watched my entire family act like it was a murder hornet.
Yeah.
Is this the one Scott ate?
No, this isn't the one that got in my mouth the other day. This is a different thing. But Wendy's right. It was the family thing where the bees decided, the hornet or the wasps, I guess they were, decided that now was the time. This was the time to start showing up, because prior to this, no bees all summer. We've been great. No issues. But that
we brought out some good food.
Yeah.
Okay. But what I watched is from grandmother to son to granddaughter.
Yeah.
All like, just kind of, and even though I think Taylor tried to be quiet, I could see it in her face.
Yeah. And if you'd have seen Nick, you would have really seen terror, because that kid hates bees.
Right.
Hates
them. I'm telling you right now, this is where sometimes it's not your own maybe exact memory. It could be. But I mean, mom was attacked by a swarm of bees that went into her hair and stung her head 1,000,000 times.
Yeah.
Because she literally had a beehive hairdo, which is funny. Sorry. Anyway,
she did in the 60s. That's when that was. Yeah.
And it was full of hairspray and stuff. And so they all flew in there and got stuck and swarmed. And that would make you afraid of bees forever, guys, right?
Yeah.
Now, what she did was protect herself from bees for the rest of her life and trained all her children to be afraid of them.
Well, that, and also she's partially responsible for this, but the reason I think it's so bad for me is a bee got in a shirt while I was riding around on a bike, and it stung me, and I'd never been stung before, and I went home freaking out, and I was real little, but I remember this, and mom checked me, couldn't find the stinger, found the bite mark or the place where it stung, but couldn't find it, shook all my clothes out, did the best she could, sent me back outside, got on my 3-wheeler, started riding down the street again, and then I got stung 2 more times, and the third time the stinger stayed by the same bee that she had in the shirt and never got out. So I have my own little nightmare kid thing. Yeah.
And that is a perfect example of it will keep happening. The thorn will keep getting right. Yeah. And what would a natural letting this work itself out would be is that, potentially mom would have sought some help, or mom would have processed that trauma. Someone could have helped her. Now we're talking back when mental health wasn't even a thing. So I get why maybe none of that happened, but right. So that might be an example. The other version of recognizing maybe I've got to expose myself to bees and overcome this, move towards the pain.
Yeah, and you're not saying put a full bee beard on. You mean don't freak out at dinner when there's one on your plate. Can you imagine mom with a beard?
There's places you can go where you can have a professional coat you with bees or give you a bee beard.
I don't think I could do this.
Let's get Scott to do it, everybody.
Horrendous.
Face your fear.
There's places in Vegas where you can have this done.
Okay, so let's move back to fear of heights for a second. So I don't know if you know this, but grandma, when mom was like 3 or 4 years old, they were on a bike and she was on the back in one of those little car seats. And our grandma, they crossed the Golden State Bridge.
Yeah.
And they got out to stop and look and take pictures. And grandma leaned the bike against the railing. So probably nothing dangerous, but just near it. And mom her fear of heights comes from that moment.
Yeah.
And I think, okay, so now you have a parent with fear of heights, right? So this is kind of an example of how thorns kind of get passed down because that fear is very contagious, right? Or, and then how you can actually address them is there's ways like exposure, et cetera. Now this is more like fear-based stuff, but let's go back to loneliness for just a minute. So, let's say you are, feeling lonely. A natural workout might be like, okay, hey, my system is telling me I need people. So if there's no baggage there, I just go to the bar and chat with the stranger like Brian does, right? Mm-hmm. But when there's baggage there and it feels too risky or too scary, then you kind of build a whole world around actually keeping the thorn of loneliness protected, which means it keeps going. And like the bee, it shows up and you're like, I got to shut it all down or just prevent, right? So one option is, I'm not going to just leave it with let it work itself out naturally because that sounds, it is really helpful, but it's hard to maybe do sometimes.
Sure.
So here's another version. And this is a little more of your exposure concept is to let this, whatever it is, come up. In fact, invite it. Invite the thorn, the pain, and see if you can stay in your observation place. You're in the seat of observing. You're the noticer. That there's so much power because the noticer is already free. The noticer is already not experiencing the pain. It's just noticing. So when you're in the panic or you're in the noticing, you're going to have a very different emotional reaction. So the idea is that you bring it up to witness it and then work on letting it go. And the more you sit in that observer seat, or in psychological terms, we call it self. When you sit more in self, where you're curious, you're observant, you're open, the more you can see it like you're watching a movie as opposed to you are in the movie, right?
It's also there's a little bit of something to watching somebody else deal with it well. Like my brother 100%. Matt, our brother Matt, our Korean weirdo brother Matt, who came to America when he was like 9 or something. He came here. One of the first things he did, one of my first memories of him, is going out to the backyard and him catching wasps with his bare hand for no reason, just to catch them. Oh no, he was pulling for whatever reason, pulling their stingers out. So he would catch a bee and he would hold on to it, or a hornet, and he would grab tweezers and pull a little thing out. And he thought that was great. He also microwaved grasshoppers. There's a whole thing. He did a whole thing.
There was a lot of gross things.
But one time when he did that, he got stung, and I went, "That's what happens. You get stung." I'm like over there going preaching to the world about how horrible bees are. And he looks at it, doesn't make a sound, didn't even really bug him. Looks at his hand, finds a brick wall, and grinds his hand on this brick wall bloody until there's no stinger in there, and then moved on to the next weird thing he did. And I know that sounds crazy, but there was something about that made me go, "Oh, I guess you're in charge. It's not the bee."
You're the adult.
Yeah.
Right.
He was a very odd little dude, but when he did things like that, it actually kind of weirdly gave me confidence around bees for a period of time. So even the other night when he's out there and he's dealing with the bees, he's just batting them away, smacking the wasp in the face, and the wasp never came to do anything to him. And I'd look at that and just go, like, what the frick? What even are
Wasp
you?
knows they smell fear.
But he can't see. He's got the same problem, though, or he's got his own problems. We were talking about our uncle just passed away. And I go, "Matt, you gonna come to the funeral?" And he goes, I cannot see dead body. Cannot do it.
Yeah, yeah, because he grew up next to a crematorium as an orphan.
Exactly.
In Korea. Like,
God, really?
There's his trauma,
yeah,
right?
There's his trauma. He can't
Which,
even
by the way,
smell.
he says smells like pancakes. So every time I eat a pancake, I think, okay.
Yeah,
wrong
he
here.
says it's like a sickly, almost like a syrup smell taste thing. Yeah. It's gross.
Okay,
anyway.
so let me tell you my bee, because I come from the same fear of bee lineage. I've never been stung, but I was sure afraid of them for no reason, right?
Yeah.
Because mom taught me to be afraid of them. And then I marry someone who's like, we don't act this way. And really helped me just like relax around bees. And then my kids have been stung a couple times. And, Abe specifically, he gets to choose one freshman seminar class that's just for fun. Guess what? The class is on bees.
Yeah.
Like, tell me that's not full circle, right?
Total,
So,
total immersion.
Thank goodness someone not of our lineage moved into my family. Anyway, but okay. So let me finish with the loneliness thing, because I think this is helpful. So if it's tempting to avoid situations that would allow some of these lonely feelings to come up, of course, that makes sense. We don't want to feel the pain, but when we are in those situations, they will come up and they can be released, right? Like those bees can show up and you can relax and the bees will go away. Like that option isn't there if you do everything to stop that from happening. So for example, say you're watching TV, you are absolutely in the observer seat, enjoying what you're seeing. It's fun, blah, blah, blah. And now a couple falls in love in the movie, and your loneliness thorn gets activated. So what do? So you can turn it off, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can notice that you noticed. Like, look at me noticing that my loneliness thorn has been activated, and that you are the subject noticing the object, which is maybe the melodrama that might get stirred up.
Aren't you worried though that your inner roommate's going to go, "Hey, what are you doing over there? What are you doing with the thorns?" or whatever?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. You're just observing the inner roommate.
Okay.
You are the subject, and you're noticing the roommate.
Okay.
And you're noticing the drama that sort of.
So he's not like a separate party butthole being a jerk in the room.
No.
Right.
He's just reacting, right? Or they're reacting. Okay. And then here's the way out. The way out is if you avoid watching the TV show and turn it off, you have just said, yeah, we don't do that. We don't watch anything that makes us sad. You've just built another layer around your thorn, right?
Right.
But if you sit and you practice noticing that you noticed, and that you are actually the subject here, and that the storm of emotion is separate from you, the way out is to just notice who is noticing. Because notice who feels the loneliness. Who feels the loneliness? Is it you, or is it the roommate? Right? And the noticer is already free. It can just see a thing and let it go, just like you can do with a TV show. You can see a thing, witness it, and it moves past, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And this may sound like, what? That sounds too easy. It's not. It's not too easy. Takes practice. It's also not as hard as we absolutely make it. Just like the physical thorn, we build a castle around so no one can touch it, and then end all our relationships so no one gets near our pain. Right? You think that's easy?
Yeah.
That's like a lifetime of work and effort and having it backfire in major ways, right? Versus we let these thorns, we notice them, they come up, they get released. So the bee is another example of just like and then by the way, I have been stung. I was 42 years old.
Wow.
It was the day I was packing up, leaving Sweden, and a bee flew in and stung me on the toe and left. And I was like, you mother. Because I got so far in life without a bee sting, and it felt like I'm already sad to leave Sweden. How dare you?
Yeah.
But it was, and it hurt like a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, but guess what? It just kind of went away. I could have added that to, oh no, see, it's proof world's a terrifying place.
Look out, bees.
And then train my children to be afraid.
Yeah.
And now they're going to be beekeepers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sounds like it. We could use them too.
Right.
Bees are endangered. So did you feel a little bit like, I don't know, it feels like people who went 3.5 years without getting COVID suddenly get COVID. It's kind of like that feeling of, oh man, my streak.
Yeah.
You know what? This is another streak, Brian. We got a Johnson streak that got broken.
God, we needed a new one of these. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't barfed since
Do you know
2005.
how long it was till I ate a whole hamburger? It was something like 25 years.
Really?
Yeah.
What? Oh.
I used to have this like, oh, it's unlucky to eat the last bite. And it was 25 years. And I'm pretty sure Adam said to me, okay, if you love me, you'll eat that. Because it's so annoying because I was still hungry. And I'd be like, okay, it's
funny.
bad luck.
I love that.
Magical thinking runs in our
something
family.
that we call the Tina 10%, where whatever she's eating, she leaves the last 10% of it on her plate.
Wow.
At the end.
Ooh.
The
She'd
Tina
make a
10.
good Swede. They call it the Swedish bite. You don't ever, especially in a group, ever take the last item. So an entire table will be full of one thing left on every plate.
Yeah.
Dang,
And I didn't know
dude.
that. And I just busted and ate all the last bits of things.
Wow.
People were like,
but now,
wow,
what
Americans,
happens now? Is there a
so
burger?
greedy.
If you've got a burger in front of you, what do you do now? Do you leave
Oh, I
it
do.
alone?
I eat it. I was 25. I decided I loved him more than I loved my stupid made-up streak.
I know. I practically squeegee the plate into my mouth.
I know. When I'm done, I'm looking for bread. It's like, is there some
Right,
bread I can
exactly.
soak all
You
this
gonna
up?
finish
More
that?
bread.
You gonna finish that? You gonna
Yeah,
finish that?
I do that all the time.
More bread. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so in summation, so I can go eat because you guys are making me hungry. Yeah, this idea of like the noticer has all the power.
Yeah.
And in that very act of noticing, you have, you're starting to remove the thorn. So if I was somebody who is like, this is not a massive thing and I need professional help. This is just sort of a thing like that's been bugging you.
Yeah.
Do something on purpose to have it come up and literally sit. Like maybe you're sitting as you bring it up and then move seats to the observer seat. And just in your mind, okay, I am observing what happens when, they show a couple on TV and look at the circus that starts.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're just observing it. That act alone is what makes us really special as a species.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
That's true. What the rest of them
beyond
aren't
our
doing
thumbs.
that. I don't know of any I don't think dogs are not aware of their self.
Well, and who else messes with their? Well, okay, a few of them do when they can, right? Like cows get into fermented whatever for fun, if they can. But like, who else tries to alter their perception and the reality all the time? We do, right?
Yeah.
Why else is that stuff appealing? And this is just a stone cold sober version that doesn't have. It only has good side effects, really.
Yeah.
So give it a try. And then if anyone has any follow-up thoughts or questions, or they want me to like run through the 3 steps with something they provide or whatever, I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
I just thought a series would be fun. And here's the series.
There it is. Series conclusion. Don't forget this series. It'll rerun this summer before all the premieres in the fall. Right?
We're waiting for it to get into syndication. Can't wait for that.
Oh, that's when the big money happens. Yeah, that's the big money. Wendy, before you
know
go,
what humans love? We love drama, and this would be like drama reducing.
Oh,
so
hell yeah!
Buckle up.
That's get ready for the comedy is what we're bringing you. Real quick, I have a sound you made last time you were on that I saved, and I just want to play it because it's great. So it's short. Here it is, like less than a second. That's a sound you made. I don't know.
You should have Brian's little thing about throwing up and then make that sound.
Yeah.
Oh, I think he has. Yeah.
I've probably done various versions of that. But anyway, I'm going to keep that forever. It's a very special moment we'll always cherish. And today's episode, really. Wendy, have a fantastic week. Thank you for all this. And
You're welcome.
I hope Abe's settling in and having a good time. And
yes.
Nobody's bringing weed into the room. All right. I'll see you next time. All right. There's that. We did it. We got a quick little note here. Some programming. Reminder. Yeah, we got a Coverville at 1. Brian brought that up earlier.
Correct.
But
Yep,
reminder.
Led Zeppelin, if you're familiar with the band. Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's the song I look forward to.
That's right.
Core at 5 p.m. tonight. Core, that's right. The video game podcast that you have come to know and love will be at 5 p.m. We have a lot to talk about. Big week for some new stuff, including early access for Starfield, which launches.
Oh, Starfield, right. Yeah.
Yep. Sea of Stars also came out, and it's fantastic.
That's what I hear, yeah.
Really good. If you like JRPGs, it's like a no-brainer. It's so good.
Cool.
Anyway, that'll be that. And then on Film Sack this weekend, we're watching Man on Fire, Denzel Washington, Tony Scott joint, Dakota Fanning, very young still in this. Very cool movie. One of my secret favorites. So we'll see how it holds up.
Before they get reunited for the new Equalizer film. I guess Dakota
she's
Fanning.
in that?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's crazy. That's cool.
She plays love interest. No, I don't know.
Oh my Lord.
No.
I've only seen the first one of those. I don't know how the second or whatever is.
Yeah, I think I've only seen the first one as well now that you say that. Yeah.
They're kind of Wick-like. John Wick?
Yes, it's a Wick-like. It's a Reacher-like.
Yeah, it's a Reacher-like. So check that out. Anyway, Man on Fire this weekend. Watch for that. And we will be doing our play date on Saturday after Film Sack. So we are aiming for about 11:30 a.m. And if you want to come play with us, that's a TMS play date. Still don't know what we're playing. I've been doing some research on some possible new game experiences, but most of them are either less players than we want or whatever. I'm open to any suggestions. You know, we usually play things like Among Us or the Jackbox games.
I'd love a one-night werewolf style thing. We're not... are we close to a new Jackbox, or did we just get one and I forgot?
We're close to their... We have their latest, but we're getting close to their reported...
10. Jackbox Party Pack 10 is coming.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe this fall. Yeah, October. I think they're coinciding that, though, with like a launcher that will let you piecemeal all of their games and go, I want this and this and that. I mean, we already own them all, so it's not a big deal, but they're basically finally making like a hub for every game they've ever made. And so you can just buy them individually and add them to your launcher kind of thing, which I think could be really fun. That's a great way to compile your favorites or whatever. But I wouldn't mind Jackbox again, but I'm just curious. If anybody out there has some rad idea, let us know, and we'll happy to consider it. But that's this weekend, Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Be there. Yeah. Also, support us on Patreon. Tomorrow's a brand new month. Great time to join up at patreon.com/TMS. We need your support more now than ever. And look, inflation may go up, but we haven't. Okay? We stayed the same. Our prices have not budged. So take advantage of that. You go out there and you pay your $5 a gallon for gas, and you're like, I remember when it was $3.50. Yeah, but over here at TMS, you're still paying that $1 or that $5 or that whatever you're paying a month. That hasn't changed. That hasn't gone up. So, come on over. Take advantage of it.
Do it before we do decide to raise our prices. I've been thinking about it. We should raise our prices, Scott. Let's do it. We'll raise our prices. But, man, if anybody gets in right now and gets in the Patreon, they won't have their prices
You'll be
raised,
grandfathered in. Exactly.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing to say. Sony just announced they're doing it, even just for the basic level, 33% price hike on PlayStation Plus. It's a heinous price increase. It's horrible.
Wow.
Are we doing that? No. Game Pass is going up. That's going up. Bunch of other stuff going up. Are we going up? No, we're not going up. Not yet anyway, so get in while you can. That's patreon.com/TMS. All right, Brian, we should get out of here. Do you have a song to play here now?
Oh, hey, you know what I do? I have one. I found one. Look at that.
Thank goodness.
This one's going out to Glitch. Says, good morning, Scream and Banshee. Your recommendal segment called me from the gothic halls that I dwell. No clue how many times you said Glitch, but it was far more than 5, and now I got bees all over. I bring you the hauntedly vocalization, those don't work right there, of the classic Susie and the Banshees song, City of Dust. It's called Cities in Dust by Nightclub. Glitch. Come on, man. Come on. Proofread these. Hope you people love it like I did. Your number one Iowa fan, which is idiot out wandering around. P.S. You all are sleeping on Street Fighter 6 and modern controls.
Look, I like Street Fighter, and I think 6 looks amazing. I'm just not in a fighting game mood. I do want to try out their story mode and all that stuff. Looks really fun, but I'm just not in the mood for a fighting game.
I'm rarely in a fighting game. Rarely.
Yeah, I'm not even that excited about... I'm excited about the new Mortal Kombat, but only really for the story. I don't actually want to play it. Is that a weird thing to say? It's just kind of happening.
No weird at all. No.
Yeah.
I'm behind you 100%. All right, so here it is. Susie and the Banshees song Cities in Dust, covered by the band Nightclub.
All right, that'll do it for us. Thank you guys for listening. We'll be back next week starting Tuesday. We're taking Monday off for the holiday, okay? That's what we do.
Because we love you.
Because we love you. So don't waste your day. Go out and do labor. All right? Do some labor. All right, that'll do it for us. We'll see you then.
Get more at frogpants.com.
My brother Matt.
Oh, that's funny.
Such a weirdo.